Welcome back, guys. This is Crayfish Carl again with a Pong tutorial series. Now, where we left off, we added our victory screen so that the game knows who scored the most points and wins. But now we're going to add a few more bells and whistles, such as a title screen and some music and sound effects. First off, we need to go back to the storyboard editor, which is this button up here. Now we need to create a new frame, which will be our title screen. Let's go ahead and click on this number 4 right here. And now we have a placeholder title screen. We need to move it to the top so that when the game runs from the beginning, it will load this first. So let's go ahead and click on it and drag it up there. Let's go ahead and also rename this to title. And then let's also click on number 1 to enter it. Now, you can customize your title just like any other frame. Let's go ahead and add some text. Say insert object. We're going to do a string. And this will be our title. Let's say Pong game. Let's make it look more like a title by increasing the font. And then just remember you can change the font options with this black letter A over here. So we got and then let's also center it. Make it look all pretty and stuff. Let's also add some instructions. It's very important that you tell your player how to play your game, or at least make it very intuitive. So what we need to do first, let's say, extend it. Say, welcome to Pong. Player 1 moves with the arrow keys. Player 2 moves with W and S. And then let's also say press space to begin. We can also change the color of the background. Remember, you click on the frame, make sure you got the settings selected, background color, and let's just pick that one. Now remember, we have to go back to the event editor, press new condition, right click on the keyboard. Upon pressing a key, say press spacebar, right click on the chessboard, and say next frame. There we go, we got a title screen. I may have gone a little bit fast, but it's exactly like the winning screens where you win. The same process. But now we're going to get to some new stuff. We're going to be adding music and sound effects. Now the next thing we need to do is make it so that music plays when you start up the title screen. So to do that, let's press new condition, right click on the chessboard, and press start of frame. Now we're going to right click under this speaker icon right here, and you'll see these options that say samples and music. Now the difference is music will play a MIDI file, while samples plays just about everything else, such as WAVs, .oggs, .mp3s. But for this tutorial, we're going to use a MIDI file. So let's go ahead and highlight music, and we're going to say play and loop music. And then you have several options. If you have another game that you're working on, you can press browse from another application. But what we're going to do, we're going to say browse from a file. And then let's just pick a MIDI file. And to find these files, this is actually in your C drive or wherever you have your Clickteam Fusion installed, because it comes with a library of sound effects and music. This is what the whole folder looks like. You got all these, but also MIDIs and samples. This is in the MIDI folder. So let's choose this one. This is a space sounding theme. You can press play to preview what it sounds like. Let's press open. Now we're going to type 0 because it's going to loop continuously. And let's press OK. Now if we run our game, the music plays, but there's a problem. When you go to the next stage, it stops. So let's go ahead and exit out. There's an easy way to fix this, and You actually don't have to do this if you actually do want the music to stop when you start the game. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to show you how. Let's go ahead and click on the name of our game over here. And press Runtime Options right here on the red arrow. We're going to check this button that says Play Sounds Over Frame. And when we run our game, the music continues. So now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump to our game area. Let's double click over here. And we're going to add some sound effects to all these objects. Let's first start with the ball. We're going to go ahead and click on it. Click on the events over here. And then click on Edit. Now we're going to find the condition that says that's going to leave to the right or left. We're going to right click on say it scores over to the right. We're going to right click and say Samples, Play Sample, because this is going to be a one-shot sound effect. I'm going to say Browse from a file. Let's go over to our Samples folder. And in fact, you don't have to pick a sound effect from here. You can actually, if you have your own sound effects somewhere, you can choose those instead. But I'll say, let's use this one. And now we're going to find the condition that says when the ball leaves to the other side so that the other player scores a point. Because I like to have different sound effects just so that you have a cue of what's going on. Let's right click right here where it says leaves player in the left, Samples, Play Sample. I'm going to choose a different sound effect. So I can say Browse from a file. I'm going to choose this one. And press Open. And then let's also add some sound effects to the paddles. Let's go back to the frame editor. Let's click on the first paddle. Go over here on the behaviors, under events. Collision between the paddle and the ball. I'm going to right click, say Samples, Play Sample, Browse from a file. Let's go ahead and find one. Impacts is good. We're going to go with, let's go with this one. And press Open. Let's go back to the frame editor again, because we actually have to edit the events for the paddle too, because we just cloned it. So it's a completely different object now. So don't forget to click on it and then Events and Edit. We're going to add our own sound effect here. Samples, Play Sample. And hit Browse from a file. I'm going to say Bump 2, or whichever you want. And then lastly, let's add some victory music for when you win. Let's go ahead and double click on Player 1 Wins over here. Event Editor. Now, the Clickteam Fusion can only play one MIDI file at a time, but it can actually play multiple sound effects at a time. So if you actually just say at the start of frame it plays music, it will actually stop the other music track and then play this new one. So to do that, let's just press New Condition. And say right click on the chessboard, start a frame. Right click under the sounds, say music. This time, this particular victory screen, or victory music, it's going to be a one-shot music because there's not only complete music tracks, but there's also some jingles. I'm going to say play music. Browse from a file. Let's go back to the MIDI folder. And then the one I'm looking for is this one, Presents. And let's press Open. And then let's go ahead and copy and paste this to the other frame. So we can actually, if we click on the 2 over here to highlight it, we can say right click, press Copy. Then let's go to our Player 2 Win screen. Go back to the Event Editor. We're going to right click on the 2 over here and press Paste. And now, when we run our game, you'll see that the sound effects are all in order. So run application. We got our music playing. Hard to play Pong by yourself. It's 2 players. There we go, I won. Gonna restart. Alright, that covers it. So, in the next video we are going to wrap things up with a bit of polish. But until then, I'll see you next time.